there's a lot that can happen here between these two, and man, this is great because they're going to go back to back here. So once we're done commentating, they'll be going right into game 2, and actually we are off.
Absolutely. So Bunny Rabbit versus Pug. Who do we think will win? I'm sure the chat is already ready to pick sides. And the first chest is a full heart container, so 4 hearts to start with. Nice and healthy beginning for the escape sequence.
Absolutely. Got the standard escape here, and Uncle telling us that the moon is crashing run for our lives, so Uncle has been teleported to the wrong game, and this is not Majora's Mask.
All right, so get your guesses in chat. What item are we going to see as our first weapon? It could be bombs, it could be Kana Burna, it could be the bow. Let's see what it is.
Stop. Uncle time. It's hammer.
All right, so I love hammer as a start. It gives the runners a great weapon, melee weapon at the beginning. Another heart container here is just fantastic. And on Rick's side, he's picked up a bomb drop that Andy hasn't matched yet. So that's really good for him.
Absolutely. That's going to be a nice find here. Nice advantage to start with. Still plenty of enemies to go ahead and kill. We're going to probably see Andy do a little bit of farming at some point if he doesn't get a bomb drop in the near future here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that hammer, as I was saying, is just so fun to start off with. It opens up a lot of the world. Having an early hammer makes things a little bit more interesting, I would say. Andy picks up his bomb drop there, so parity has been achieved as well. We won't be worrying about the back of escape chests, so that's great.
Absolutely, the universe is in balance. We don't need the... Oh, there's the bow!
Wow! Hammer and bow at this early juncture.
This has been a generous... I was going to make a joke about the Infinity Gauntlet, and you got the bow instead, which interrupted me. Dang it.
Yeah, wow, what a great start. I actually, could not ask for more. You've got a great ranged weapon. You've got a powerful melee weapon. And that means that right off the bat, Andy going ahead and picking up that second bomb, right off the bat, you're going to have access to Eastern Palace as a full clear, regardless of whether or not it is a pendant or a crystal. It does mean that it's going to be easy to draw yourself over towards that if you're one of these players. Obviously, if it's a crystal pendant or a crystal dungeon, that would be better, but it will be interesting to see if it plays out that way.
Absolutely. You're still looking for that orb in the gloves at the moment, trying to figure out if we're going to have to go through Aga or not at this point. Just a piece of heart there, so that is not the case. And I believe since we've already found the map, that means that everything else from here on out is going to be, well, at least 4 of the 5 chests will have items in them. The next one that they open up is going to be the key because of the logic.
Yeah. So Rick just going ahead and grabbing a little bit of extra hearts to supplement his current health. Both of them now at 2.5 hearts.
Exactly halfway health. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's going to be very curious to see if there is a immediate route divergence. A couple of times so far in the bracket stages, I've seen people run straight out of escape and over towards, straight out of Kakariko Village and then over towards Eastern Palace, skipping the South Lake Hylia and Mini Moldorm check until a little bit later. And I wonder if that bow find is going to pull them that way in the event that it happens to be a crystal.
Always a little bit of a risk to do that, but could be a good risk.
So I'd just like to mention right now, as we're at this early juncture, for anybody viewing who's interested, we're doing something new here at Speed Gaming, and this cast is actually being broadcast as well in French. So if that is your preferred language, if you were to go to Speed Gaming Francais, you will be able to listen to a French cast of this particular match.
Indeed. Scary Olive is doing that. Wonderful commentator that I've worked with before. Had a very enjoyable time getting to do a little bit of French language casting there, and I believe we are looking at possibly doing it in other languages as well. So that will be something to look forward to.
So there's that key rat taken care of by Andy.
Indeed. And chat asking, is this game 2? Because Andy's already won. No, this is still game 1. He's not that fast, guys. Come on.
And so 10 arrows here in the back, a piece of heart, and there's the boots, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going fast right from the start as well.
We're going faster. Rapidly approaching plaid.
It's ludicrous speed first. So here we see that Andy's already pulled, pretty nice lead. 1 or 2 rooms ahead here. Just through a little bit cleaner on his ball and chain guard kill, and in some of his maneuvering. And there on the way out of Sanctuary is the flute.
You are ridiculous, Seed. Go home. You are ridiculous.
So map check shows us that it is in fact a red crystal over there at Eastern Palace. Crystal up at Tower of Hera as well. And I believe I saw another crystal there in Desert Palace. I'll just get a quick double check to confirm. Yes, it was the other red crystal there at Desert Palace. So both red crystals here in the Light World. Amazing.
Absolutely. That's going to mean a whole lot of Dark World pendants here. It'll be interesting to see which ones those end up getting pulled as. But as far as a possible go fast seed here, this is looking good. Having the 3 Light World dungeons be crystals because of the fact that they're some of the shortest in the game. Very easy to get through, so they're going to be very, very, very quick crystals once they have the items.
And so just another big 20 rupee there on the Lumberjack shed. I think both of these runners are checking that because of that early boots find. It really kind of triggers you to want to do that. Except I misspoke because Rick decided not to do that. But that might have been the reason for Andy to check.
Absolutely. Rick probably thinking he might need to take a few smaller risks here, simply because the fact that he's good. And Andy's really good too. Andy's execution is just amazing. So when you come up against a runner like that, you're always thinking in the back of your head, maybe I have to take a few more risks than I normally would, just to see if they pay off.
So what this has done is put our 2 players much closer to parity from one another after Andy's incredibly fast run through the escape sequence. But he's still going to hit Kakariko Village first. Rick wants to go ahead and, great move there. Getting the next tier on the tree pull in order to pick up some bombs. So that'll give him the freedom to not have to purchase bombs. Andy may have to do so after he checks Blind's Head.
Absolutely. We're going to get to see here if there's any bombs here. And if so, Andy will be a little bit safe. There's just a single rupee at the start. 5. And there's the blue mail. And a hookshot. Ooh.
All the good items. That's fantastic. That means that we're going to have access to the Death Mountain right as soon as we activate the flute.
Absolutely. And that blue mail, it's making me think early dive into Dark World might be on the cards. Hey, here's bombs. So Andy paying a visit to the bottle vendor to get some bombs there. And if you would please rise, ladies and gentlemen, remove your hats for the Swag Deck National Anthem.
So the only other piece of movement items that the runners don't have yet is the flippers at this point. So Rick pulls ahead into the well here, picks up 300 rupees off the bat. There's the Zora money all done at this point. No farming for these runners. 50 more in the back.
My goodness, this seed is rich. There's some more bombs there. Sure, Andy will be happy to see those. And a heart, and a heart piece that gets a full heart, so that's going to be a refill.
Yeah, 7 hearts at this point. 830 plus rupees. Bow, hammer, hookshot, boots, flute. This is a insane seed.
Absolutely. I've seen some bizarre seeds in my commentary so far, like the past 2 weeks. Just like version 29 just been throwing all kinds of weird stuff out there. More bombs for Andy. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of really stacked early seeds, and unfortunately for our runners here, all those early stacked seeds I saw ended up going sideways in the middle before having a single item that they had to find. Oh, and there's a bottle, so that will help with Sick Kid right across the street.
Yeah. Yeah, that tends to be the nature when you have a lot of early goodies, you end up struggling for that 1 or 2 remaining progression items that are anywhere else in the world. And so a lot of the times you'll see a seed like this and you'll think to yourself, this is going to be a fast seed, this is going to be a fast seed, but oh no, look at what's happened.
Rick glitched himself. He did the thing that you're not supposed to do.
The chicken.
Now everyone's been asking, we've been talking about the chicken thing in other races. Everyone's been asking, what happens? Is the chicken thing bad? Can something bad happen with the chicken? Yeah, that's what happens.
That's it. That's the first time I've seen it happen in the tournament. And you're right. We talk about it as a thing that could potentially happen a lot. And people are like, oh yeah, it can't be that bad. Well, there you have it. That is pretty bad.
Meanwhile, Andy checking the maze race game and finding it is the lamp. So gonna go pick it up. I think that's a good move. There's a sword to start with here. And I like that movement from Rick as well, using the hook shot to pull himself onto the chest as he pushes the block, meaning that only has to make 1 trip to come in here.
Yeah, now, fortunately for Rick, it's not an awful situation for him to have had that happen. He only lost 2 items, 2 item checks, one of them being on the library ledge and that lantern. He'll have an opportunity to go back there at some point, so it's not like he's going to have been hurt too bad. Lantern, of course, being very useful to find, but I'm sure any of the early dark rooms that he might need to go through, he'll be more than comfortable with.
Indeed. He's got the flute as well, so that's going to be not a problem to get back to Kakariko really quickly and check those later. So he's just going to continue his normal routing for now as if he's already checked them.
Yeah. The only danger, of course, will be if he forgets that he hadn't checked it and never specifically routes to it, because it's a little bit out of the way. So, Mini Moldorm Cave, full of a lot of rupees and that single artisanal fine handcrafted arrow that Rick decides to give back to the dude that hangs out in there.
It's locally sourced. What can you say? It's worthwhile. And we're seeing him go over to Eastern. Oh, we're actually seeing him go to Desert Palace right now.
Yeah, wants to get a look at
checks here.
That ledge
and
Agina,
cave. Yeah.
Now I like this. When you have the flute early on, it makes this check a lot easier to make. And it is one of those locations that can sometimes really, really troll you because you feel like, there's got to be nothing there until you run out of everything. So this could absolutely pay off for Rick. If there is something there, it may be some time before Andy decides to go check.
Absolutely. And let's see what Rick's got. Ooh, came to Samaria. Nice
that
find.
Might be.
Let's see what Andy's got here in Ice Rock Cave.
Oh,
Canaberna.
So trading canes. Fortunately for Rick, that is his cane is significantly more useful.
Absolutely.
Although we could end up having both Meyer and Turtle Rock as pendants, since 3 out of those Dark World dungeons will be. But still, I like the cane.
I like it as well. So Andy's going up to Death Mountain to go get the old man. Probably do some of this Death Mountain search. Rick is going and cleaning up some of the things that he missed because of the Cuckoo glitch there. And one of the interesting things there is we saw just even the tiniest amount of optimization from Andy, choosing to flute over to spot number 8 rather than to dash over there to save himself a little bit of time on the screen transitions.
Yeah, it really does make a difference. It's a few seconds here. Hopefully, if Rick. Oh no, Rick's gonna go and check first. Could have had an opportunity to save some time. Andy sees that there's a big 20 rupee on top of Spectacle Rock, and underneath it, there's just 10 arrows. So, not gonna have to go through that part of this part of Death Mountain. He's gonna head down and go all the way over to the East Death Mountain since he has the hookshot. Make use of what he can find on Paradox Cave and the Spiral Cave.
Yeah, and I think after that he's gonna go ahead and route up to Tower of Hera. He's got what he needs to complete that too.
Mhm. So time for another large item location source here in Paradox Cave. 7 potential items. First one is a full heart container followed by a piece of heart.
So we're basically just a book away from having access to all 3 of the crystal dungeons in the Lake World here.
And here we see Rick going ahead and doing that other technique, or the other path that I thought might be optional. He's going to go do Saharshal's Hut and Eastern Palace. Andy picks up the Master Sword here. And some bomb paraphernalia.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Oh!
Green Pendants and Swamp Palace, though. Hey, that's
Yep.
good info. But, Crow, I got a bad feeling about this because we're opening all these chests,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're still 2 items away from not having Aga mode, and we've got a Master Sword now.
That is absolutely true. Fortunately, there are a few more places to look, so we'll see what happens. Additionally, Andy shows off the hovering technique there in Paradox Cave.
Oh, there's a mint.
Well, there's a glove, so
That's one item down.
just a moon pearl away.
Yes, indeed. Hey, we got a big key there. So we're looking for one more item.
Well, there's the mirror here in
Ooh.
Eastern Palace. Like, gotta like that. Again, another just very useful item check, versatility item. So that's going to open up a lot of other checks as soon as they do have Dark World access.
Indeed. So we actually do technically have Dark World access, but we don't have the Moon Pearl, so we can't really do anything in the Dark World at this point. And Pearl could absolutely be in any location right now. It could even be on the pyramid, which would be very cruel and require an Aga fight to get it.
Andy, quick work there of Trolldorn. At 18 minutes 29 seconds, finishes off the first crystal dungeon. Does have to go to the basement though.
I was gonna say he's got that lamp out. He knows he's gotta go to the basement to get that second item.
So Rick picks up another one of the items there in Eastern Palace, just a 5-bomb capacity upgrade. So still no Moon Pearl. There's also Zora to be looked at. Additionally, I think they're starting to run out though.
Yes, indeed. We're starting to run low on possible places it can be.
We'll have Spiral Cave on the way down from here.
All right, last item in Eastern Palace will be in the Armos Knights, which Rick will go clear out right now.
Andy is setting himself up for a Death Warp.
Not a bad idea. So it looks like it's not just going to be a save and quit. He's probably going to go try and do something else. Oh, I guess
Oh,
there's the pearl.
there's
Okay.
the Moon Pearl. And that changes a lot. That kills Aga, for now at least. I don't believe there's any reason why we'd have to...
Yeah, I think we're
I
good
think
on
that puts
that.
it completely dead now, yep. And the Moon Pearl here in Tower of Hera means that we also have Spike Cave potentially completable since we have the Cane, which uses a little less magic to clear out.
Of course, with those boots, they can cane dash down the first little bit there if they so choose. And while Rick is going to take care of the Armos Knights here, he's on the last little bit.
And so now the world is really wide open for Andy. Looks like he's going to go and... Actually, he might be heading to Spike Cave since he's already here.
Ooh, Rick getting really close. Just a 5-bomb upgrade, getting that first crystal, getting really close. And really low on arrows there, almost ran out.
And the real question is going to be, is Andy going to make his way to Eastern Palace first before heading over to perhaps Village of Outcasts and that series of checks? If he does, he will have the mirror, which would be a very useful thing for him to be efficient in his routing along the way.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I suspect Rick's going to head up to Death Mountain now.
Yeah. So just a piece of heart there in Spike Cave. Another check totally taken care of. We don't have to worry about it anymore. And Andy is going to go from Link's house. This tells me that it's likely he's heading over to Eastern Palace.
No, he's going to Hype
No,
Cave.
he's going to Hype Cave.
He wants that sweet, sweet Dark World access right now.
So we see that Ice Palace and Skull Woods are the other two pendants to go along with Swamp Palace. It does mean that that Cane of Samaria was required. Mirror, of course, also going to be required along with the flute, which we already have. So
getting a shield to start with in Hype Cave. Let's see how much hype we got. A whole lot of love. 10 bomb capacity upgrade, 5 arrow capacity upgrade, and a big 20. So,
yeah, you can't really fault Hype Cave at this point. There's not a lot of hype left to be found. So it tried its best, but it's not easy to live up to at this point.
Yeah, so here's the thing that may be beneficial for Rick that Andy is going to have to contend with. Andy doesn't have the mirror. He's in the Dark World. He's going to have to save and quit to get back to Light World. As he picks up a big 20 from Stumpy. Stumpy let us down again. But Rick will be able to route more of these. If he follows a similar path to Andy, he's going to be able to route more of these checks right away.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that really it doesn't necessarily pay off immediately, but if this seed comes down to a single item hunt, which it could very well do so based on the nature of how many items they have found early on, that will be something that Andy's going to have to deal with, searching all these one-off locations that he will have skipped over because he didn't have the mirror at this time.
Absolutely, and that's going to be that could certainly be a problem if some of these one-off locations are fairly heavily spread apart, and he's going to save and quit, go back to the Light World. Maybe now we're going to see him go to Eastern Palace and get that mirror.
Well, he's fluting somewhere.
Yep. Here we go.
Oh, he might go into Palace of Darkness first, though.
Not a bad call, actually.
Yeah.
Because you can go Palace of Darkness. Actually, oh, he can't. He
Yeah,
doesn't have the mirror.
he doesn't have the mirror,
It's in
so
Eastern.
yeah, this is not. It's not that it hurts. He has no way of knowing, and there's certainly a lot more items available in the Palace of Darkness. So from a standpoint of his information, this makes perfect sense
Right.
for Andy, but it's not going to pay off as nicely as it could have had he gone the other way.
Yeah. You see, it's too hot. Way too hot. But Andy going to be going into the Palace of Darkness here. Has the bow, doesn't have to worry about bow lock at this point. So we will get to see what's in this first chest. Palace of Darkness, 4 keys in the beginning, along with 2 items. It'll be very interesting to see where those keys are set up. There's the big key, that's the first item, so indeed it was a bow lock dungeon. But we get to see Andy go over to the right side here. Well, bow lock unless you want to use the glitch. So doesn't need the potion glitch because he has the bow. We'll just be able to go ahead and complete this as normal. And there we go. Stream froze for a second, but we're fine now.
Yeah, we're getting a little drop frames from here and there.
Yeah, it happens. By the way, glad you're back. Glad you didn't burn the house down with the chicken tendies there.
Yep, that was wasn't from my side. It's one of those linked fire alarms. So the
Yeah.
guy next
Okay.
door was
Mm-hmm.
something going on there, but it turned off, so no problem.
Yeah. Good news is that Andy just found the flippers in Palace of Darkness, so that was nice. Second item here in the front, so everything else is going to be keys. Assume go ahead and drop down here. Probably just jump down. Wait a minute.
Well, maybe not. He's going to go all the way up. He's got enough keys. This is just going to be a replacement key, though, so it doesn't...
Yep.
It's good to have their check. Rick picks up his Moon Pearl. He's going to be happy to see that. That means he knows that, hey, he's able to start progressing through this seed proper now, and he'll head over to the east side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can confirm that Andy was not counting keys there or counting items there, because he would have realized that that both those chests would have been keys and could have saved himself a small amount of time by skipping that big key chest up there.
Another little efficiency bonus here that Rick is going to get that Andy wasn't available to Andy is because he came from the other side to Tower of Hera, he's going to get to go down Spiral Cave, then back up Paradox, and then head over to the Spike Cave, all in a nice natural pathway. And
Yep.
you know, those things seem like small things, but they add up over the course of a seed. So
Yes, indeed. He's gonna get a chance to do the full loop here. Ooh, and the shovel.
So fetch quests here in the Dark Maze.
And by the way, that hammer jump, I think Andy just did it without doing a whole lot of polish buffering, which I'm not shocked. I'm impressed, but I'm also not shocked that he's able to do the hammer jump with that efficiency.
Yeah, he just laid that down real quick.
He's just like, I know what I need. I know where I need to be.
Yeah. Picks up the fire shield there in the second one of these chests.
So if there's a key in here, then that means there's a key in Harmless Hellway.
Yeah.
super awesome runs from both of our runners right now.
Yeah,
Each
the
is kind of
routing is
having
super efficient.
advantages. Yeah, each is kind of having advantages over the other based on their items and their just the way they're approaching things. I'm not going to say skill because they're both very skilled runners, Rick and Andy, but just their approach to things. Not even so much their routing choices of where to go, just how they're doing things is very nice.
Yeah. So now AdirondackRick is going to get his hype cave check. It's not going to be very hypey. Just a shield really is the only thing he'll walk away from that. And then, of course, as chat correctly points out, we unfortunately just cursed Rick in getting about 4 bonks in a row there as you were talking about his skill. But that is the nature of the game.
That's the nature of the commentator. You say something great, and then there's like multiple bonks in a row.
Yeah, they just have to prove us wrong all the time.
Like, gentlemen, please.
So now Rick's going to be heading over to Palace of Darkness himself now. I'd be interested to see. No, he's going to go straight there. I was wondering if he might carry it on up through Pyramid Ferry or Pyramid Check first. But I like this play. He'll get this one taken care of, and he's actually probably going to come out pretty much even to Andy, presuming, of course, that Andy decides to go right into Eastern Palace after this if he save and quits back to the Light World and comes to do Eastern Palace immediately following.
Yeah, that would be my
He'll
question
be
here.
Slightly ahead, I think.
Yeah, that would be my ultimate question here is what does Andy decide to do next? Does he save and quit and go to do Eastern Palace, which is open? Does he go, oh, we got Tempered Sword, though. That's a nice find off Outmaster King.
Mm-hmm.
Or does he decide to make a gamble on something else? Does he say, I want to go do Thieves Town now? Because I'm going to have to save and quit anyway, so, you know.
Yeah, that's perfectly legitimate. For him, the best thing that he could do is to come to Eastern Palace. Though he doesn't know that, but getting that mirror is just going to make things a little bit easier for him in the long run.
I suspect that's what he's going to do.
We'll see where he flutes off to. Yeah, and that is where he's going. It's almost like he makes good logical decisions on top of being fast.
Absolutely.
We have the benefit, of course, of not having to play and being able to think about this kind of stuff, and also having a person to speak to at the time. But it's hard to play and make to think clearly all at once, and it's a skill that a lot of runners, you could see that they have worked on it and played enough that they sort of get a feel for how the game should be run out.
It's one of those things where you have to be fast. You have to go fast, but you have to slow it down so that you can read it and understand it. And there's Andy picking up the mirror.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gotta be happy with that.
Yeah. It's like how a lot of athletes will say, you get in the zone, you're able to kind of see the game slow down and be able to make moves based off of that and decisions. It's just kind of the same thing with Rando. You're thinking as Rick picks up the flippers. You're thinking all the time. Okay, what plays can I make dependent upon what I find here. If I find this, I can go here. If I don't find this, I'm going here. If I find this, I can go here. And just from practice, you kind of learn a little bit about what the best options are for you based on where you are, and it becomes a kind of a choose your own adventure in a way, I guess you can say. Just a way to figure out, all right, if I want to save the princess, I go to page 93, and if I want to go fight Ganon right now, I go to page 85.
Rick had a little bit of trouble making that bonk back up to this side of the dungeon, but managed to get there after a couple of screen changes.
Yeah, not always easy to do that, but certainly a skill that's nice to have. That's a good question that chat's asking. That when is Andy going to go back and check Agina's cave to get that cane to Samaria, which we know is going to be required for 2 dungeons. I don't know. I don't feel like he'll do it until he goes over and does Desert Palace. To me, that's
Yeah.
when that seems logically within the routing for him at this point, based on what he's got.
And when you have places to go at this point, I would suggest that he will probably stay away from Desert Palace as long as he's got somewhere else to go until he picks up the Titan's Mitts, so he can route both Misery Mire in as well. Again, you just for efficiency's sake, you want to try to get those double dungeons in whenever you can. And so, unless he runs out of places to go, that's probably what he'll wait for. So I would see Thieves Town probably being the next place that both runners head to after this. They both still have all of the Village of Outcasts as well to check, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we're absolutely going to see Andy and Rick probably at this point, go ahead and prioritize completing the crystal dungeons you can complete over dipping into some of these pendant dungeons that you're like, I went in there and all I found was a old shoe and 20 rupees. This is useless for me. This was a waste of my time kind of deal. Sure, it helped me knock a few things off the map, but I didn't need to waste my time doing that.
So Andy about half of a dungeon ahead.
Yep, just watching Rick walk through here, go back out the Harmless Hellway, and we'll see him wrap up this dungeon here. He hasn't picked up his Hasrilla yet.
Oh yeah, but he came from the other direction, so yeah.
Yes, indeed. And of course, once again, just a reminder that if you are interested in listening to this game cast in French, well, I can't do it, but we do have a separate channel that is doing a French cast of this as well, as we're doing it here in English. So let me see if I can get the link here.
Speed Gaming Français.
Speed Gaming Français, yes. Or literally Speed Gaming French.
And,
thank you,
yeah,
thank you very much for posting that in the chat.
Andy heading up to the Dark World portal here north of Kakariko Village, so we will be seeing the Village of Outcasts. I'm curious if he might go into the Skull Woods area trying to find the 2 items available. Sometimes some runners do that, even if it is a pendant, because they're almost kind of like overworld checks.
Yeah, with the way that Skull Woods is set up, it's a dungeon that's not all together. It's discongruous, I think is the word I'm looking for. Or discontent. You know what I mean? It's separate. They're separate parts. I'm trying to say fancy words, and dang it.
Instead, Andy's going to head down to Village of Outcasts, picks up some rupees here in the chest game, and dashes across, opens up Thieves Town. Going to go and do the brewery first, and maybe even follow that up with the C-shaped house before heading in to that dungeon.
Indeed. Yeah, it's a nice little couple of checks here in the overworld for Andy. Unfortunately, won't be able to do most of the other overworld checks. I think he skipped C-shaped house for now. And dive into Thieves Town here.
Meanwhile, Rick picks off Hamassar King, grabs his tempered sword, while Andy gets a stick of butter out of the first chest here in Thieves Town.
Discontiguous, that is the word. Thank you very much, Lost Traveler. TLDR, Skull Woods is not all together in one place. You can go in and out, so it is kind of an overworld check in a sense.
Rick staying in the Dark World here tells me he's going to go and do the pyramid and maybe even head up to Catfish, mirror over to Zora, and do those checks. So we're getting a little bit of a route divergence here, and that's nice and efficient route planning for Rick based on his current item loadout. So we'll see some new items there.
I like this, especially if there's progression up there in the northeast corner. This is a very good time to do that.
Since he did pick up the flippers, he has access to a lot of... actually, he's not going to do Fairy first. He's going to go and do Hobo first. But then that makes it even better. Forgot about that part.
Indeed, and now that we've been talking about our talk of our French race stream got them talking about Quebec, and then they then devolved into a discussion and chat about Canada and poutine.
And both of those things are glorious, Canada and poutine. So
yeah, I grew up basically with the entire country of Canada as my neighbor, so it's almost it's like it's not another world to me, but it's a nice place to visit. Canada, it's a nice place to visit. You know, yeah, Ricky is going to go ahead and check the pyramid here. We'll get to see what is up on top. Maybe it's something good.
Wow,
oh, it's silver
arrows. So nice check for him. That's going to be a nice find to have because a lot of bosses can be taken care of really quickly with those silver arrows. And if Andy doesn't ever pick them up, he's not going to be hunting for them. But could be just another little speed advantage that Rick might end up getting over the course of this seed, just based on the choices he's made in routing.
Indeed. And this is one of the things I hate, because I'm going to sound like I'm trying to sound cool, but I'm not. Rick was going so fast, I didn't even get to say maybe that the silvers were up on the pyramid before they showed up. So I was like, oh, dang it. Anyways, we're going to get a check of Catfish right now. So we'll get to see if this is anything of value. And I think so far this choice has been good for Rick because he's got those silvers.
Yeah, if nothing else, he's got something of value doing this. So turns out that it's just 20 rupees up there at Catfish, but he can mirror now directly into the Waterfall of Wishing and then get his Zora checks out of the way. Neither runner has gone there. Meanwhile, Andy's going to go and follow the script here in the blind fight. Half magic for Rick. Not required item, but very helpful and beneficial to have.
And Quake for Andy there on blind, so that could be very beneficial to have as well. Rick will eventually get that because it's a crystal dungeon, so he's going to have to go in there, complete that, kill blind, and all that jazz. But yeah, Rick is finding some nice utility items here with the silvers and the half magic that perhaps we won't see Andy go ahead and grab. And he may decide that that's, Zora's a little too far out of the way to go check.
C-shaped house just has that 10 bomb stack, so. And a bee in a bottle for 500 rupees.
Praise be Torp. And Andy's going to go ahead and do the Skullwoods dip.
Yeah, you're right here, and if you find something useful in these two chests, it feels good. Rick is taking the mountain to flute back over to Kakariko Village, so he'll probably be doing the Thieves Town checks as well in just a few moments.
I would think so. Hey, there's a book, so that's actually bad for Andy if he's looking for silvers. That's going to steer him away. It's going to probably take him to Desert Palace. So he'll likely go get the King to Samaria with some of those checks around there at this point.
Could also, it makes that south route a little bit more pleasant once he gets Titansmith, so he might actually hold off until he finds that, just to also throw in the tablet check. But we'll see what he chooses to do. Instead, he's heading off to the north route.
Bumper Cave.
So he'll take a look at Bumper Cave. Doesn't have the cape yet, so can't do anything about it.
And big 20. Probably in the graveyard ledge, I would assume here. Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb probably are the next two checks.
Now he may actually route this over to Catfish as well, if he follows it up the full logical conclusion to this route.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he does that and then goes to Zora. Does he go back down and try and go into the Dark World and go do Pyramid after this? So we know what the both items are. We know it's the book and there's a blue bottle of goo in the second chest there. Andy did not pick that up. Bounced out after getting the book.
Yeah, so he just took one and said, well, the rest I'll get later if I have to. And well, that is not an item that he needs, the blue bottle of goo there. Whenever you leave a chest in some places, Ether Medallion here in King's Tomb, so that's a very nice pickup as well. That's 2 out of the 3 medallions for Andy. But as I was saying, when you leave an item someplace and you know you've left it there, and if you get to that point where you're trying to track down that last remaining goodie, it can be painful trying to find a place, trying to find a time to route all of these separate places in.
And Andy's Pog sprite there, the praying sprite is
It's pretty awesome.
one of my favorites. Yeah. So he's going to go ahead, go into Desert Palace at this point. Probably get the Key to Samaria immediately afterward. Just kind of routing it in after completing the dungeon.
Yep, the other big benefit to doing this is as it is the other 5/6 crystals, so that means that Andy's going to be able to go and do Pyramid Fairy along with Pyramid Ledge at the same time. Big draw here for him to get those silvers on top of the 2 items inside the Pyramid Fairy area.
Yes, indeed. And Rick's can go ahead now and check the Lumberjack Ledge just to be safe. We'll find it. It's a big 20, I believe, and very likely bow out right afterward. Getting the flute. I think he may too be heading over to Desert Palace.
This is very interesting that he has skipped Thieves Town for this point. Isn't going to hurt him progression-wise. The only item that was of any value in there at this point was the Butter Sword and Quake Medallion, which we don't even know if it's required.
Right. But I'll get those eventually, I would assume.
Well, he'll have to at some point, so. And let's see if there is something good here in the big key chest. Just a compass.
The fact that Andy's still checking chests is telling me we haven't found that second item yet, so my guess is it's got to be on Land Molas. So let's see here. For go mode, for our runners, we would still need to find... well, we still need to know what medallions we're going to need to get those two dungeons, and we need both the rods at this point. That's about it.
Yeah, and this is, as we see, this is where a seed can stall out when it's loaded with goodies at the beginning. It becomes a little bit of a slog trying to find the last few things along the way. Andy, lighting torches like nobody's business.
Yes, indeed. So keeping in mind that we're looking for Ice Rod and Fire Rod. Ice Rod can be anywhere except Trinex and Ganon's Tower at this point. So it could be on Laser Bridge. It was on Laser Bridge last night in one of the races I commentated. And there was a gamble to that paid off for a win. And Fire Rod, well, it can't be anywhere in Skull Woods. We got both items out of there, and all of the chests have been opened, so... Or at least all of the chests that are accessible have been opened. We know it's not in Thieves Town. It's not an Ice Palace yet, unless we find Bombos hanging out somewhere, because we wouldn't even have access to Ice Palace yet. Could be in Mire. Heck, it could be in Turtle Rock. Both could be in Turtle Rock. That could be particularly brutal, but that's absolutely within the realm of possibility at this point.
Yeah, in fact, that is something I have not yet seen this tournament, where both rods were in Turtle Rock, but it certainly could happen. And given enough games, it has to happen at least once eventually, so... Andy grabs his Cane of Samaria. He'll be happy to find that there at Agita's Cave, so... Heading down to the south now, it looks like. He's got his hammer out.
I believe we're going to get a Bombos tablet check. Yep. And we've got to find the mitts as well, which I do see Kinghorn in chat correctly pointing out. Where can we go and find the mitts based on what we know? Only place that's left as far as dungeons is Swamp Palace. You need the mitts to get in. You need the Titan's mitts to get in everywhere else if it's not in the Overworld.
Well, there's the 2 tablets, yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, the 2 tablets, Pyramid Fairy, and any number of possibly available Overworld locations, which there aren't many. There's not many left even in the Dark World because we don't have. I think Rick's can go ahead and dive into Thieves Town here, but we don't have the mitts, so we can't do hammer pegs. We can't do taking a frog home.
Well, Andy's going to go ahead and do Cave 45. We haven't seen that yet either.
Correct.
And then I imagine if he doesn't find anything here, he'll do the bomb at Pyramid Fairy. Oh, there's the fire rod.
Okay. Well, that's one down.
That's a nice find. So I'm guessing he'll do the Pyramid Fairy, Pyramid Ledge, Catfish.
Probably. And then kind of route in everything else there, looking for the ice rod at this point. So yeah, he go and get them silvers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, why is it called Cave 45? It's called Cave 45 or South the Grove Cave. The reason it's called Cave 45 is because there was a mapper who was mapping out, way back in the day, there was a mapper mapping out all of the caves, and that was just the number that cave was assigned was 45 on the map, so...
So Andy, go ahead and using a little bit of movement tech there. If you hook shot and immediately start dashing, the bomb will not drop off you and will actually stay at dash speed with you. But if you don't do that, it'll just stop and start its countdown. So neat little bit of tech.
Indeed, I love that Andy kind of like bounced backwards and then turned around and was like, wait, that's silvers. 300 rupees.
There they are.
Ooh. Nice.
So Andy correctly and happily reading the logic there, thinking, I'm going to check everywhere else before I go into Swamp Palace, because the last thing I want to do is Swamp Palace. And I imagine he'll head to the Misery Mire area now because he's got access. There's both chests in Mire's Shed, Checkerboard Cave as well, plus a great chance that he's going to be able to full clear Misery Mire as long as he has the correct medallion, and he does,
Yes.
as it is Quake.
So Thieves Town leads to Misery Mire.
Gets a nice health replenishment there as he completes a piece of heart as well, so what more can you ask for?
Indeed. And we are just an ice rod away from go mode right now. The only problem is, as far as items go, it's the one you don't want to find go mode because, boy, it can be just about anywhere.
Yeah, that is so true. And as well, we need to... We haven't seen Turtle Rock's medallion as well, so we could have Bombos as a required item, but
Yeah, I get the feeling the ice rod's gonna be somewhere stupid, like it's gonna be on Hobo, somewhere they haven't checked yet. That was obvious, open for like the last 40 minutes.
Well, we did have a hobo check on Rick's side.
Oh, we did. That's right. That's right.
Had that
That's right. I forgot.
advanced technique.
Say Chad is now aboard the ice rod on pedestal train. It is their hope. Or fetch quest item that leads to ice rod.
Well, we do have dig spot available to us. I don't think we've seen that yet, have we?
I'm not sure. I thought we saw somebody go do it, but I'm
Might
not
have.
100% certain on that.
Yeah, I think we did see dig spot. I think it was bomb upgrade or something.
Yep. Andy just finding a key in that first chest.
And chat actually pointing out that that is what it was, a bomb upgrade. So
Yep.
there's the big key. So could actually finish Misery Mire if you didn't want to track down the 2 items here.
Mm-hmm. You're still looking for ice rod, so you get the Godmire, but you're not in go mode to exploit that.
Yeah, that's so frustrating.
Feels bad, man. That's nice. A nice little glitch there too. If you notice that, Crow. The bottom left torch is not appearing lit, but it is lit on Andy's side. He did it. I think he did it so quick that the game was like, okay.
It was not prepared. So there's a pretty good chance we'll get to see some spooky action as well coming up here on Andy's side.
Ooh, I love spooky action.
So don't blink or you might miss it when he heads into the back of Misery Mire here.
However, if you do have a weak constitution, you may want to turn away when the spooky action happens.
Mm-hmm.
Speed Gaming 2 is not liable for any injury that may result from spooky action.
It is one of my favorite glitches now, actually. It's exciting that it was newly discovered just during the process of the Swiss rounds of this tournament. Just lets you know that like there are things that are still out there to be discovered in routing this game.
Yeah, just still out there to be discovered. Weird things that the game does because you're trying to do. As we've said before, the game does not like when you do 2 things at once. So a lot of times when you do 2 things at once, weird things happen. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that even in this day and age, with how much speedrunning has gone into A Link to the Past, with the randomizer, with all of these things, that we're still discovering things about how this game works and what kind of weird little things we can do to manipulate the way it's coded to try and get it to do interesting things.
So be ready here, guys, because you're about to see it set up in just a few seconds.
Oh, I sure hope so.
Well, I would assume so. I can't imagine Andy doesn't do it.
It's like a flow chart. Is it? Yep, we're seeing it right now. It's like a flow chart. Is it a glitch? Yes, Andy does it.
So watch him here, and wow, amazing! I don't know how he did that. It's so spooky.
Magic. It's magic. And he flips him again.
He just used it there, too. Like,
yep.
He's exploiting it in places where you don't normally see it exploited. Very spooky.
Rick, meanwhile, bonking off the
Oh, and
the
look at
wall.
that ice rod there on Vitreous. Absolutely
Yo!
what he wanted.
Oh my goodness.
So I imagine that we're going to see him head right up towards Turtle Rock now. Worst case scenario, he won't find it, but he'll get an opportunity to do the Dark Side of Death Mountain. Lots of items to be checked there. And we may be in complete go mode in just a few seconds here. We'll know for sure.
Mm-hmm. We're in potential go mode depending upon what we find here. Rick is probably going to do Pyramid Fairy now, I would assume.
Yeah.
So if it's not Bombos, Andy's in go mode. And he's got one dungeon left to complete. This could be a very, very fast time if this is either Ether or Quick.
Yeah. At 1 hour with just Turtle Rock left to do.
Is this still 110 possible? No. Not even Andy's going to be able to do that. Going through TR, GT, and a Ganon fight. No, not with an hour already on the board.
Yeah. This will be reasonably a 120.
Yeah, I would say
If
so.
this is not a Bombos medallion.
And I believe our tournament fastest
Oh,
time is Bombos.
Bombos!
Wah, wah.
Wow, 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 wow. We did have a 112. I commentated 112 and 10 seconds.
There's a.
I think there
There
was
was
a
a
110.
107. There was a
Oh, wow.
107. Leon, I believe, had a 107 earlier in the bracket stages.
Oh, there's Bombos because it's always right outside. Don't have a medallion? Just check the places right outside. And then Rick grabs his Titan's Myth, so that's a nice find for him.
Absolutely. Now Andy's in go mode, but he has the unfortunate extra hassle of having to lift up the rock again and get stuck on the dead rock.
Longest dead rock ever. You know, they just feel like they stay like that forever.
This is a ridiculous seed. This is a very silly seed.
Yeah, no double dips required at all. Very, like, I would almost say it was linear. Didn't feel as linear as it was, but just judging by the paths that both runners are taking. Rick here getting Ether Medallion out of King's Tomb, not helpful for him. He doesn't know that, but...
But yes, Meyer did have Ice Rod. It's on Vitreous, so Rick will get it once he goes into Meyer and completes it. He's checking a few Overworld locations at this point.
So big key there early on in Turtle Rock does mean that we're likely to see a fast Turtle Rock. Some chests will be skippable. The vanilla big key chest you won't have to go through unless you're incredibly unlucky, because it would just be a key for a key trade. So
wrong rod there, Andy. Had the Ice Rod out for just a moment before he realized that was the wrong one. Yeah, we had a, just on chat, someone talking about a 39-minute go mode. We had a 39-minute go mode in the first Amazing Ampharos and Phyllian match. That was probably one of the most ridiculous ones I've commentated so far this tournament, but boy, that was fun.
I had a matchup with Azazus where he hit go mode at just under 40, so it might have been around 39 as well, but then got messed up by a tile room big key, which slowed things down.
Ouch.
And put him. He hit the 1 hour, just over 1 hour 12. He also pulled out some hovers that no one had ever seen him do before in that match. so he completed the game without the hookshot.
That was always crazy to see, and we're still trying to figure out if we're going to get to see an Andy hover tonight. I would assume so.
Well, we've seen one.
Perhaps.
He hovered in Paradox.
He did. That's right. Will we see a successful Andy hover though? That's another question.
Oh, taking a death
Ooh.
here in Turtle Rock. Got
Yeah, that
lasered
was-
instead of just hit by the pokey, so that was interesting. He does have to pick up that key. I wonder if he
Yeah.
was trying to take a death there on purpose and thought he was going to get the key before for a death warp. I don't see how that would be helpful. So
Oh, that really
Just
wouldn't be too
careless,
helpful. I
maybe.
think it was just an accident from going really fast and maybe just making a slight misstep somewhere.
yeah, he did get punked a little bit by those chain chomps earlier when he was doing that room. They hurt. Even on blue mail, they take a lot of damage.
Yeah, those guys are nothing to mess around with. Absolutely not. So attempt number 2,
This time
Much
he
better.
successfully gets the key.
and of course he will skip the middle chest there, because no need to get that if it's not the big key. Chaz is informing me you don't have the God mode on Thursdays, so good to know. Good to know that that's our day of rest. I think Rick is just trying to do a full clear here, looking for that ice rod. Doesn't know yet,
Yep.
like we know, that it's at the end of the maze here.
Yep, but you know what? He's going to be happy when he does see it there. It's just going to
Yes.
feel good.
And Andy going through the Turtle Rock basement roller coaster right now. Very quickly. He's gonna have to go on Laser Bridge, but it does have Can of Burn,
Yep.
so that won't be a problem.
He is down to 4 hearts as well, and with no other ways to get additional health, doesn't have powder. He does have a blue goo. Well, Mirror Shield does make this even easier.
Yeah, that'll help.
Who needs a Cane of Burna if you can just move perfectly on
Exactly.
Laser Bridge? Like, seriously.
Who needs a mirror? Who needs a mirror shield if you could just move perfectly?
Yeah. If you could just always be exactly right.
But that'll be nice for Ganon's tower as well. That'll block some of those BMO shields and the Rudgoria shots.
Yeah, and we're gonna see what I'm gonna assume that we're gonna see. He has the boots. He has Butter Sword. So if you get behind him like this, it's just a shot and 3 swipes, and you'll kill Trinex's first 2 phases before he even shoots out his neck 1 time, like that.
Beautiful zero cycle.
And if you time this correctly, it's over before he even turns the corner.
Chat getting a little antsy right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know what? Time to get those big key locations in there. Everyone can guess, but the first or closest guess from a subscriber or a supporter who's donated 250 total bits, you get a shout out and a spot on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and don't blink or you're gonna miss your opportunity, because it's just a short little walk away to Ganon's tower from here, and he takes a unusual bonk there. Little whoops. So where do you think we're gonna find the big key today, Nihan?
I'm gonna say chest number 12, rando room. I like to guess that one. 12's a lucky number. Rando room is usually where I guess I tend to find that I'm correct, but I'm usually off number-wise by 1 or 2 chests because they open it in the wrong direction, make me lose on purpose.
I'm gonna go
So how
for
about you?
a full 17 today. That's
Very
where I
nice.
think it'll be. In there behind Armos Knights. So
Alright.
chest number 1 is a heart container. Chest number 2 is 5 rupees. So Andy's gonna head over to the left side. Where check number 3 is a key, which he does have to kill Bob for.
Oh no, not Bob. Meanwhile, Rick is going to be going through Vitreous. We'll get that ice rod very shortly, and then we'll be up to Turtle Rock.
So number 4 is another small key. 5 is a piece of heart. 6 is 20 rupees, and 7 is just some arrow capacity.
Alright, so unfortunately for those of you who guessed 7 or lower, sorry, Seed's not going to cooperate with you tonight. But for those of you who guessed 8 or more, you're still in the hunt.
So double firebar room, number 8, 10 arrows. Doesn't help you out there.
Nope. These next 2 chests, I've seen it at both locations, but I've only seen it there once. So 8 and 9 with this routing is always kind of a gamble, but you know, every once in a while it shows up there.
Yeah. So we call this fire snake room.
And using the
yeah, look at
hookshot
these
instead.
hookshot skips. Chest number 9, just 3 bombs. And we're in the rando room, so opportunities here. Laying some bombs along the way.
Andy, please go pick those bombs up.
Might need them.
So here we go. Chest number 10 through 13 coming up right now. There's 10, 11, number 12. No, not today. 13, nope. Indeed. So couple of rupees and a couple of pieces of heart.
You know, that bonk skip, it eludes me still to this day. I've watched a million runners do it. I've just never been able to get that.
Yeah, it's the window on that is just super tight, and I've tried it. I just can't do it either.
So Bob, if you hadn't killed Bob, he would have left already. But since that's not Bob, he didn't want to participate. Oh, Powder has 14.
So 15, 16, 17 coming up here. I assume if we don't find the big key in these, we'll probably get a small key. Simply because of the fact that otherwise we'll have to have a second key somewhere. There's 15. 16. Is this going to be a small key or is this a big key? He's got the... There it is, 17.
I did it! Yet again, if only I was keeping track on the leaderboard, I think I'd be at like, I don't know, 30. I've been correct so many times. Maybe not 30, but at least 4 or 5.
I thought you said 18 though. That was 17.
No, I said 17. I said right after
okay.
Ice Armos. So congratulations. If you guessed 17, you are correct. So looks like the first sub or supporter who did that was Kinghorn. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations, Kinghorn. You did it. And that's your 9th win. Nicely done.
Wow, 9 is impressive. So congratulations. Your name will forever be emblazoned upon the leaderboard until such time as we decide to reset.
Yes, which probably won't be for a bit yet, because we haven't reset it yet.
I mean, like, you can do it whenever we wanted, really.
We can,
but...
yeah. I think we're just too lazy to do it. It's just nice. It's nice to not have to reset it, because then people won't yell at us.
Gotta type out some commands. It's not.
Yeah. Meanwhile, while we're discussing leaderboard stuff here,
Andy's
and he's just like
tearing up the gauntlet.
motoring through gauntlet.
Like even when he doesn't get his like perfect path through it, he's still faster than most. So it's got 5 hearts here in Land Molus 2. Setting up for a 1-0 cycle or 1 cycle here on Land Molus. Grabs it. No problems. Makes it look easy, actually.
Absolutely. Now we get to go to the satisfying rooms with the Wizrobes and the Candace Maria.
So much fun.
Indeed. And I see him. Now you don't.
The first one's nice and easy, a little warm up. This one, a little bit more tricky, but not by, not as tricky once you've got it a few times. But oh my goodness, it feels so good.
Absolutely. And of course, Andy down to the torch room.
Yep. You feel like a champion Link to the Past player when you get it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter your skill level. You just feel really good. You're like, yeah, I can do anything. I can hover this gap. I can't hover this gap.
And he doesn't feel the need to pick up that full mana replenishment. Probably wishes that he did, but instead, just showing you that, hey, Lantern can light across a small gap.
Yes,
Did
it
you
can.
know that? Ah.
Absolutely. Sometimes you even have to use, you run out of magic and you even have to use the lantern to light all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun
Can be
adventure.
In fact, you can actually fire rodless the Ganon's Tower. It's not easy. And the hover begins! Trolldorm. Oh, no. We'll see how many attempts Andy does at trying to skip Trolldorm 2.
I think probably that one might have been
I
it.
think we'll get another
Oh,
one.
no, we're getting another one. Oh,
And there, that's how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. Who needs to fight bosses? Not worth it.
You don't need to do that. That's a waste of time.
I mean, when you only have to hit the boss twice, or hover, it's so much easier to just hover.
But Crow, 0 is less than 2.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. Andy's just casual hover. Doesn't even need a warm up. And we are on to Aga 2 fight now. Gets a great double on the first one. And a really nice double on the second one. If that was not a blue ball, that would clearly have been a triple.
Absolutely.
So 2-2-2. Andy shows you how to deal with Aga 2.
You can call Andy Russell Westbrook there, getting a triple double. Sports. But on the way to Ganon here, with Silvers, with Butter Sword, boy, this is going to be a very, very quick fight. Indeed, Rambler. When you get me on commentary, you get sports references every once in a while, and Andy is now very quickly going to be working through phase 1 here again and into phase 2 with the fireballs.
Showing you how to do those dash strats.
Just the swag. The swag of doing it. You don't need to do it.
Stay
it just
close.
Looks cool. And phase 3. Did you find the arrows in the Dark World? Yep.
Gets the first one there. Torch glitches. Set up for a nice triple here, too. Didn't quite get it. A little too slow.
Almost, but he's going to finish it off right here.
Absolutely. So now, as long as Andy is going to successfully be able to cross this 3-wide tile narrow bridge gap without falling off, we're going to see him claim victory here in Game 1.
Is he going to hover
just
it?
a few moments.
He's not going to hover it. He's going to walk across.
There you go. He enters the Triforce win, grabs a victory. Congratulations to Andy for taking this first game with an official speed racing TV time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 58 seconds. fantastic sub 120 for this seed. And we are going to now watch as AdirondackRick finishes off his run through this seed at an incredibly respectable time as well. With all things considering, it just, sometimes Andy happens.
Sometimes Andy happens. I feel like this is a phrase that's been used before. But yeah, I mean, Rick's time at this point is absolutely, no slouch. Being in here with their final crystal at 119.
And
I
see,
think
here we see.
most runners would be super happy to have that.
Yeah. Now, just to be clear, because they are doing their second race immediately following this one, we will not be having a interview at the post-game interview, as both runners are going to be preparing and setting up for the second matchup. So stick around if you're hyped to see what happens next.
Absolutely.
I believe it's going to be broadcast directly after this on the same channel. I'm just going to do a quick little double check here of the schedule. And the answer to that is...
I believe so.
Speed Gaming 2.
Yeah, if it's on Speed Gaming 2, that's where we are right now.
Yep. So as chat was saying that Rick suggested he might forfeit in the event that Andy beats him at the start, but looks like he knows he's here at Ganondorf. He's gonna go ahead, get the warm up, get the practice through this, so he's gotten a feel for the dungeon. So looks like he's gonna complete the whole thing.
I think so as well. I think this is also probably a race to see if he can PB in here, maybe. So that's also maybe why he's still going.
Oh, is that true? I'm not sure what Rick's personal best is.
I'm not sure either. I think... I'm not sure. I thought I knew what it was, but I'm not totally sure. But, I think if he thinks that he's got a chance to PB, even if you've already lost his first race, go for it. Go for your PB.
Yeah, I think in reality it was more of a, if I'm way behind, I might.
Rick,
he's in go.
Yeah.
It's important to practice. Sorry.
Randler's mentioning in chat that his PB is a 128, so that's exactly why he's doing this.
Oh yeah.
He's probably trying to set a PB time here, maybe hoping for an early GT. And plus, at this point, you've already come this far. You might as well go ahead and finish it up.
We've taken a little... Oh. Getting trolled by the hookshot blocks there.
I hate when they do that. And Couch Cash is on the pedestal, so nothing of real value.
Yeah, really, this seed was... you probably can't ask for a nicer seed, in all honesty. It had a lot of great items at the early stage. Very little route divergence opportunities. It was just pretty much a straight shot for success. Didn't have to dip any pendants.
And yes, indeed, Rick's gonna. We're gonna have game 2 here after a short break. Once Rick finishes up here, super happy to see him still going to finish this out. Always like seeing a race run to its completion.
Oh, the book. They did need to pick up the book from Skullwoods.
Indeed.
So, I guess that's sort of a dip.
A small dip, but a dip nonetheless. And a nice refill there for Rick, so that's going to be helpful. Getting that 13th heart. Yeah, this will definitely be a pretty good time for him. It's just one of those things where, you run a really good time, and there's not much you can do if someone else runs a really good time too. It's just kind of one of the things with Rando.
Yeah, and he's going to come back into the second game feeling like he's worked out some of the jitters, the kinks might be cleaned up. Some of those little extra bonks and getting hung up on a couple of walls and things like that happened over the game for Rick. Unlikely to happen again.
Yeah, and there were a couple of small extra checks that Rick did. Didn't really net him a whole lot here besides the half magic that Andy didn't find.
Yeah, but even that, like, you can't fault anybody for making a check up to Zora. Like, that was like a ideal, optimal routing situation. It's just that Andy didn't head to Catfish, so never mirrored over to Zora. And Rick grabs the big key at check number 16 instead of 17.
And he will now make his way up Ganon's Tower. And yeah, it's one of those things too where it's real easy for us when we're watching both runners to be able to kind of look in perspective and be like, oh yeah, if you go here and here and here, you have a really fast run. But when you're running, you're just kind of doing it in the moment. And I would say, really, if something is accessible to you, it's not a bad check. It's not a bad check if you're still looking for stuff, because everything's got to be somewhere. And the more stuff that you can check and kind of cross off your list, if you're looking for something in go mode, or if you're looking for something to get into go mode, I should say, the more stuff that you've got already crossed off when you've got that one item left, the fewer checks you have to make. And it feels a lot better to know that you only have to go like 5 places instead of 15.
So let's just take this time to remind everybody, if you haven't already done so, that both of these runners stream regularly, and if you'd like to follow their channels on Twitch, I'm sure they'd greatly appreciate that. As well as just having an additional viewer. They play a lot of different things, different times. And
absolutely. Yeah, Andy plays a lot of stuff. Andy's been doing the Super Metroid and Link to the Past combined randos, so if you really want to check that out, that's a new thing that's been programmed to put together. Andy's definitely got a channel that plays a lot of that lately. He's really been grinding that out. It's been fun to watch. And Rick, of course, is very often a fellow co-commentator here on the speed gaming channels, not only for the Link to the Past races, but I believe he's also done Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Randomizer races, NMG. So he does a lot of work, and it's always good to see him on the other side of the fence here, so to speak.
Yeah, if you haven't yet watched a Super Metroid Link to the Past Randomizer crossover game, I recommend that you find a VOD or find somebody who's streaming it and just witness the amazement. And
it's great.
The skill set required to perform well on it is just insane. Two very different games combined into one speedrunning experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are people definitely who have come on over from the Super Metroid world to be in this tournament. I know I definitely recognized a few names early on that were runners from Super Metroid, and they were doing Link to the Past stuff. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize they did that. Now they've got a game that combines kind of the best of both worlds there.
Yeah, I personally, I've always been a fan of Super Metroid. Grew up playing all these Super NES games, but the thought of combining these two together into one game is just so too much for my brain.
My joke is like, this is how we get Justin to do rando. This is how we trick him. And then we
with that,
immediately regret it when you realize, oh no, he's actually really good at Link to the Past Rando.
and with that, Rick takes care of Trolldorm 2. See, 2 hits, not that long. Andy's just not patient. And he'll be heading into his Aga 2 fight just as soon as he gets through this really annoying hallway.
Indeed. Always a good trivia question for those of you at home wondering, what's the last enemy you run into in the vanilla Link to the Past game? And that's not a boss, and the answer is a Helmsor. And most people wouldn't say that. I'd say, oh, well, it's got to be like, Stalfos or something tough like that. No, it's just a bunch of little Helmsaurs running around the room right before Aga 2. I think Rick's got one more shot here. Just lining this up.
Oof.
Ooh.
Just backed off just one step too far.
And away we go to the Ganon fight. So this should also be very quick for Rick. This is going to be negligible. He should be finishing up within the next minute or two.
Yeah.
And we had, and of course, the Spaceballs quote there from Ganon. Had some Spaceballs discussion earlier, both in the chat and in the race, so it seems kind of appropriate. Yeah, Rick should be on phase 3 now.
It was even a very quick phase 3 for Ganon. He didn't teleport all around the room.
It's very nice.
Yeah, everything kind of played really nicely for the runners.
Aw, Rick just missing out on the... He's gonna get a nice positioning there. Should be able to get a double. Ooh, almost a triple. I was about to say I was worried for a moment there because it looked like when Ganon teleported for the first time, Rick could get knocked off the ledge, but he's gonna be all right. Just about to finish it up.
So as long as he's able to cross this incredibly dangerous, treacherous bridge, I hear it's covered in ice and other scary things.
It's covered in grease.
Rick's gonna finish with a Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 33 seconds, bringing an end to this first matchup here in round 1 between these two players. So congratulations to Rick for getting a nice finish there. Very good time.
Yes, indeed. And with that, I think we're gonna start getting ready for game 2 in just a moment here, Crow.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't mind me saying, on behalf of myself, Crozonity and Nihon Tiger, thanks for co-commentating with me. But thank you guys all for watching us. Mad props as well to Vash 1978 for being our tracker today, keeping all the little lights lit up on the bottom of the screen. All of you out there, just be sure to hang in there for about 15-20 minutes, I think.
Yep.
No, it's going to be closer to 10 p.m., so they'll probably take the full 40 minutes. And that's when the next matchup is going to be started.
Absolutely, and we're going to hand over the commentary mic to two very, very talented co-commentators here. Good old Rambler and Big John are going to be calling game 2 here at the top of the hour, I believe. And I think we've got Merc will be doing the tracking for that. So stay tuned for that. And thank you very much for having us in your rando life tonight. Really appreciate it. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Take care. Good luck. Good RNG. Have a good evening. Always remember someone out there loves you. So take care of yourselves too, guys. Bye.
See you in the next race.